Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Welcome back. Seems like a ago. Welcome to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Josh Taylor in tonight for Rich Walsh, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Top story of the night, Pitt with the big comeback win against UCF, 35-34, the final score. And this was a game that if you watched it from start to finish, different stories. The first story that you saw was Pitt jumping out to a 3-touchdown lead on UCF. The next story that you probably witnessed after that was UCF scoring 31 straight points to take a 10-point lead over Pitt. And then you see Pitt come right back and score 2 touchdowns of their own to finally get back ahead. And at the very end, with a minute left in the game, it's the Pitt special, I guess you can call it, kind of like the Philly special that the Eagles ran during that Super Bowl, but against the Patriots. But it was the Pitt special, and said Aaron Matthews, the pass to Kenny Pickett. That is your game winner. Pitt wins 35-34 in an amazing, amazing comeback and an outstanding game from both teams. And they knock off the 15th-ranked Golden Knights, who had, up until this afternoon, the longest-running current win streak in the FBS. That is now shattered at 27 games. And it's a good way for Pitt to bounce back. If you remember what happened last week, if you're still frustrated by what happened last week, a lot of discussion about what happened or what didn't happen, depending on how you want to phrase it. But to have a win like this, to see them come back and deal with some adversity and have this team battle back and beat an opponent like this who really had been scoring at will on opponents, not just this season, for the past couple years. I mean, remember, they are dealing with, a former national champion. Kidding. Anyway, but to have Pitt jump back and have this kind of performance after a game when it probably would have taken the wind out of a lot of team sails, I think that speaks a lot about the character of the players. I think it says a lot to the coaching staff for their ability to keep those guys motivated and come in ready to play this team, knowing that they would have a tall bill on their hands, but they were able to do whatever it took to win that game. West Virginia, of course, they go on the road. They win their first conference game. They beat Kansas 29-24. Some other local games, Duquesne beats Dayton. Shout out to Duquesne. They win 35-31 on the road, so a big win for the Dukes. Got a shout out to the alma mater. But a pretty interesting day of college football. Really good game going on over on KDKA between Georgia and Notre Dame. I believe it's 13-10 Georgia in the third quarter. As we speak, it's late in the third quarter. We will have KDKA news immediately following that game, which at this rate looks like it might be somewhere around midnight-ish. So if you're willing to stay up with us, love to see you over there when the time comes. But yeah, some really good college football games happening. We have Wisconsin completely blow the doors off Michigan. They beat them by 3 touchdowns today, which I thought was a really impressive win for the Badgers. And this has been a week where it looks like every week we're seeing one huge win in college football. But we got a couple upsets that were pretty big this week. Of course, Pitt with one of them, and then Wisconsin beating up on Michigan. So we have a couple of pretty interesting games in college football. And another one looks like it might be on tap going on down in Athens, Georgia. Let's talk about tomorrow. Steelers on the road in Santa Clara facing the 49ers at Levi Stadium. It is the beginning of the Mason Rudolph era, if that's what you want to call it. He gets the start tomorrow with Ben Roethlisberger out for the season. So we'll see what happens when we go into tomorrow's game. I'm one of those people that tends to feel a little bit more optimistic about Mason Rudolph. I think going into this game, I think this is a guy who has done at least the right things when people aren't paying attention. He's talked about how he's prepared as though he is the starter, even when he's been the backup. He's talked about how he's just come in and studied and worked to learn everything he needs to know, because he knew that all it took was one play to be the difference between whether or not he would be sitting or whether or not he would be playing. And true to form, he's actually done the right things to have himself prepared to take this opportunity. Now he just has to go out and do it. But if you talk to people that have either coached with him or played with him in the past or even at the present, they'll tell you that he's about as prepared as anybody for this game. And I don't doubt that. I don't doubt his preparation. I don't doubt his work ethic. And I don't doubt his pedigree. As a matter of fact, I don't know anything about Mason Rudolph. I'm just curious to see how he handles being in a hostile environment, being on the road, being that far away from home. I mean, granted, it's his first start, so it's not like he can really have much of a basis between starting at home and starting out on the West Coast, because this is, attempt number 1, unless you want to count last week's game, that second half. But this is where you're going to find a lot of the early situations where he's going to have to step in and set the tone. He's going to have to come in on that first possession and try to set the tone with the offense. If they have the scripted plays, he's going to have to go in with that script and make that script work. And also, let's say things don't go great in the first quarter. If they have to scrap the game plan and do something else, he's going to have to be the guy that has to make that adjustment and go off of what he sees, go off what he's heard, go off of the plays that they've run, and try to make those things work. And I'm curious to see how he handles each of those situations because he's going into them for the first time. And sometimes the first time, you might need to go through things more than once. But we'll see how he adjusts to it. 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Give us a call. Also, shoot us some tweets at Josh Taylor HD. We'll read those as well. We will take a break. When we get back, we'll answer some phone calls. We'll answer some tweets. We'll talk some Penguins. They had a preseason game today against Columbus. We'll get into all that stuff when we come back. Stick around.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, putting new roofs on Pittsburgh homes for over 25 years. Call Ireland Contracting at 1-800-NEW-ROOF.